Hi, today's video is about observation. Observation is about a lot more than just looking where you're going and having the occasional check over your shoulders. It's about being aware of what's going on the road around you and being aware of what's happening for other road users as well. So we will be looking at how you fit observation into your systematic routines and having a look at how professional drivers are trained to help them be aware of and see vulnerable road users like cyclists.
This animation shows observation from a cyclist perspective. It's just about visual observation, but obviously it's important to listen as well. So the yellow area marks the zone of visibility that you have from a bike, and because there's no pillars obstructing our view, that just simply moves with us as we turn our head. So we have less need to think about blind spots. It's just as simple as whilst we're looking over our left shoulder, we can't see what's going on over our right, and vice versa. So we see a car approaching, and that's really easy to spot over our right shoulder. But a smaller vehicle moving much closer to the curb, like this bicycle, is more difficult to spot. So when we're moving from primary to secondary position, it's a really good idea to look over our left shoulder so that we see those road users. So it's as simple as regularly looking over our shoulders. For most of us, that's just a quick check like this. But sometimes we might need a bit of help with extra flexibility, which is why I've taken my hand off the bar and straightened my leg. Going to show you that in more detail. So this is a slowed down version of the same thing, and you'll see my hand's gone off the bar, my right leg is straight, and that's allowing me to turn from the hips. So if I've got any difficulty with flexibility in my neck, I can compensate for it like that. It's also important for us to be aware of the visibility around other types of vehicles. You can see here with this car that in front of them they can see something very similar to what we'd see on the bike. In addition to that, when they look in the mirrors, they can see a range behind. The dark area showing up behind this car shows where there would be an additional blind spot if the rear view mirror was obscured or it didn't have a back window, for example a van. When towing, there's obviously an object in the way of that visibility, and that needs to be compensated for. So some vehicles have wider angled mirrors, and with a car towing a caravan would fit towing mirrors, and this helps to minimise but not remove the additional blind spots associated with towing. We'll see now this car and caravan in motion, and we'll see there its range of visibility and where the blind spots are. So notice behind the caravan, in the middle of the turn, the whole left hand side of that caravan is completely blind. So we need to be really aware of this when we're going near anything with a trailer. Let's have a look at this from the driver's perspective. So we can see here there's a cyclist, really easy to see, in his bright yellow jacket, riding in secondary position. The road's clear, so it's nice and safe for the car to pass. We're now looking at the same thing from cameras mounted on a bike. If you heard the engine, you would look over your shoulder and you would notice that the car's there. You might see it indicate and it be able to pull out safely. Of course, if it was an electric vehicle, we might not hear the engine as easily, So it may be more important for us to keep checking regularly in that instance. So a good observation prevents us from creating dangerous situations on the road, like this one, where the rider is unaware of the car behind and sticking in primary position. The car passes very closely. This is dangerous for everybody concerned. It's hard for the car to get past. It's unpleasant for the cyclist as well. One of the most common things that people say puts them off from cycling on the road is sharing the road with wagons. As you can see here, this Fagan and Worley articulated truck is overtaking the cyclist perfectly safely. And we're going to go and learn about how truck drivers are trained to share the road safely with vulnerable road users like cyclists.
So I've got with me today Darren from Fagan and Worley. He's a driving instructor, and he's going to show us the truck driver's perspective, and tell us about his direct vision standard.
That's correct, yeah.
Cab.
The latest technology that's available to us. So, this is a Scania R450. It's about 2 years old, so all the technology in it is recent. And we fitted what's called the direct vision standard kit to these, which is a proximity sensor around the front near side wheel arch. It's a near side camera. It's also got the wide angle camera above the passenger door as well, which we don't necessarily have to have, but we have fitted that as a why not. So if I put my indicator on now, you should see the little camera. We've got a blind side camera which is down roughly at knee height on the passenger side, pointing directly at what we term as the blind spot, where you would disappear in the driver's vision. And there you can see it. So we've also got the audible warning as well. You can hear that quite well.
Yeah. So as a cyclist, I'd hear that sound.
You would, yeah.
And if I did put myself in what we generally think of as the blind spot, then you would be able to see me on this screen.
Between the driver and the cyclist, there would be that interaction with the screen or with the audio, and it makes everybody aware of it.
Excellent. I'm also noticing, Darren, that you've got a lot more mirrors than I have in my car.
We do have. We have on the passenger side, we have 2 wide angle mirrors. We have one pointing down, which is the curbside mirror, which is just above your head there, and that is quite a wide angle mirror, and you need it when you've got cyclists coming up or you're overtaking cyclists. It does let you know how far they are away from the cab.
Yeah. So obviously this one's not set to where I'm looking from, is it?
No,
it's
set
for you.
For me to
but
look
I
on.
can see quite a lot of what's going on below from
It
that.
doesn't eliminate the danger, but it helps the driver be more aware of what is down there. Adjusted correctly as well. You know, we can't just leave a mirror in there. We've got to adjust them correctly.
Yeah.
And all I can see in that mirror is very little of my truck. I've got a thin green line because we're painted green, so I can see the thin green line. Everything else is there. I've got a little bit of vision of my rear-facing mirrors. I'm just trying to cover so there are no blind spots, or minimise the blind spots. And then we've got the upper wide angle, which goes quite a long way back, quite a long way out. That's the one.
Yeah. So I can see in there, I don't know if you'll be able to see this on the camera, I can see a truck moving a container around on the yard.
Which you can't see in the normal rear-facing mirror.
No, which you can't see in the normal mirror.
So it's quite a wide angle mirror. Quite wide angle.
Yeah, and what's this one at the front for?
That's so I can see what's in front of my vehicle. If I'm stationary, if there's pedestrians, vulnerable road users around, I should be able to see them in that mirror.
Okay, so quite often in the priorities video we looked at how to use an advanced stop line, and quite often the advanced stop line is in front of where the truck is, so the way that you'd be able to see a cyclist in
with that wide angle.
Yeah, so is in there.
Yeah.
As a cyclist, I always advise people to make eye contact with the driver
It's a good idea.
if they can. So that's, yeah.
We tell our drivers make eye contact. If you can't make eye contact, because the cyclist is actually concentrating on the things around, we teach sometimes just give a little toot of the horn.
Yeah.
You've got to make that connection with them.
Yeah.
And as soon as not the big, loud, angry tip.
I was just going to say, these
just
horns are pretty loud, aren't they?
Just a little tip like that, because you can do it, and a little wave like that. And once you've established that communication, we will tell our drivers, let the cyclists do their thing, let them move off out of the cycle box, just make way, and then we can adjust our behaviour accordingly. Okay.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So it'd be really good to have a look at where some of the proximity sensors are around the side of the truck.
Let's go and have a look.
As well. So we're now outside the truck, and Darren's going to point out where the sensors that he mentioned are actually positioned. So
start off, that's our blind spot wide angle camera down at the bottom, and then we've also got these sensors going all the way around this wheel arch, which are our proximity sensors. They're about the 40 centimetre mark, so you're within 40 centimetres of the truck. The driver is going to be alerted by audio and visual alarm that you are in his blind spot.
So anywhere where we're too close to the truck, we all make mistakes. It's going to set off that alarm.
This aerial view of Darren's truck shows just how long it takes for me to cycle past and gives you an idea of the scale and size difference involved. That makes it really important for us as cyclists to make sure that we do plenty of observation. This is the view of the mirrors from inside Darren's cab, and as you can see, a well-trained driver that's checking their mirrors regularly will be able to see me at all times. Riding along the left-hand side of a truck that's about to turn left is obviously quite a dangerous thing to do, but it's interesting to see quite how much visibility Darren has from the inside of his cab. You can see me in at least one of the mirrors almost all of the time, right up until the point when I turn. The more hazardous scenario is what happens to the ability that the driver has to see a cyclist on their left-hand side when they turn right. You would assume from this position that it was quite easy for Darren to see me in the mirrors, but that's not the case at all. Darren can see me in his mirrors quite clearly as he's driving along in a straight line. I can hear his indicators come on, so he's about to start putting that right turn in. It's only a tiny turn, but he's completely lost me. I'm completely invisible to him until I come alongside the cab.
During today's video, we've had a look at how to fit observations into your systematic routines, and we've also had the chance to have a look at how Fagan and Worley have used a combination of good CPD training and technology to ensure that their drivers can see you and keep you safe on the road.